The film begins on a planet called Yaoa Prime, a world where the Yaoa live as fearless beings with no natural enemies. A spaceship is seen flying over their territory, carrying a being named Kai, who is searching for his younger brother Dack. As Kai searches for him, he discovers that Dack is hiding beneath a mysterious cloaking device that conceals his appearance. When Kai approaches, Dack suddenly attacks him, and an intense battle between the two brothers begins. Dack wants to prove that he has grown stronger and is now more powerful than his brother. He attacks Kai with all his strength, but Kai easily defeats him, sending Dack falling into a deep ravine. After climbing back up, Dack declares that he is ready to become a true Yaoa. However, Kai tells him that he still has much to learn before he can earn that title. Kai explains that before joining a clan, Dack must kill a ferocious creature and bring its head back as proof. If he fails, he will never be allowed to return. While Dack searches for a worthy target, Kai points out planet Janna, known as the Death Planet, a world filled with monsters so dangerous that even the creature called the Clask cannot defeat them. Dack declares that he will hunt the Clask to prove to their father that he is not weak. Kai warns him against this plan, but Dack is determined to prove to both his brother and his father that he can succeed. Before they can leave for planet Janna, their father arrives with a massive spaceship and demands to know why Dack is still alive. He scolds Kai and calls him weak for failing his mission and failed to prove his worth and claim the throne. The father orders Kai to kill his own brother Dack. To kill and capturing Dack easier, their father uses a restraining device, causing Dack to beg for mercy for his life. As Kai prepares to kill him, he hesitates, overcome with compassion. He frees Dack and secretly sends him away using a transport device into a spaceship. And then Kai turns against their father, and a brutal battle erupts. Possessing the ability to change shape and vanish, their father quickly overpowers Kai. From inside the ship, Dack witnesses his own father kill his brother. With his last remaining strength, Kai activates a remote control, allowing Dack's ship to escape toward planet Janna. As the ship speeds away, Dack hears his brother's final words, telling him to come back someday. Hours later, as Dack's ship approaches Janna, it is hit by rocks in orbit, making him awake. When the ship enters the planet's atmosphere, it is suddenly attacked by a massive creature and crashes deep within a forest. Dack is consumed by anger toward his father for the loss of his beloved brother. Determined to survive and complete his mission, he wants to prove that he can protect himself. When he checks his weapons, another creature attacks him, forcing Dack to fight back using his gear. Because of the intensity of the battle, Dack is left slightly injured. He uses large leaves to wrap and bandage his wounds before continuing his journey. As he walks forward, he notices piles of animal skeletons scattered all around the area. While surveying his surroundings, Dack suddenly spots a woman named Thea, who is trapped among thick vegetation. Moments later, a rock is thrown toward their location, causing the plants around them to come alive and attack Dack. As he dodges the attacking plants, Thea desperately begs him to help her. However, Dack does not respond and instead charges alone into the swarm of hostile plants. During the struggle, one of the plants strikes him directly in the face, instantly making him dizzy. Fortunately, before a carnivorous plant can fully consume him, Thea manages to save Dack and kills the creature while he is unconscious. When Dack wakes up, he finds Thea standing in front of him. Out of curiosity, he asks her why she has no legs. Thea explains that she was created by a corporation called Weyland-Yutani for research purposes on the planet. Since humans cannot survive naturally on Janna, the company created beings like her instead. She also tells Dack that many Yaoa have come to this planet before, but all of them were killed by a creature called Clask. To gain Dack's help, Thea offers to lead him to Clask's nest if he agrees to take her with him. Dack's navigation system is damaged. He accepts her offer and allows her to guide him. As they travel together, Thea constantly talks and asks Dack questions, but Dack remains silent, still grieving over what happened to his brother. While crossing a shallow river, Dack ties Thea to his back using thick vines so they won't be separated. Soon, a sudden storm forces them to stop and rest. During this time, Dack asks Thea how long she has been on Janna. She replies that she has been there for nearly 2 years, searching for her missing friend Tisa, who was separated by a creature known as Callista. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Tisa actually survived and managed to return to their base. Although some of their equipment is damaged, she is ordered to collect more specimens and bioweapons to continue studying the Yaoa. Later, Deck attempts to hunt for food. Unexpectedly, he injures himself on razor-sharp plants. A small creature appears, seemingly harmless and innocent. Upon seeing Deck, it quickly runs away, prompting Deck to chase it down as potential food.
Up in these trees, there are Luna bugs.
During the pursuit, Deck slips and nearly falls into a patch of sharp grass. Eventually, he manages to capture the small creature, but suddenly, a massive monster emerges and attacks them, capturing both Deck and Thea. Fortunately, the small creature helps them escape. However, as it tries to run away, the monster captures it and drags it away. Grateful for being saved, Deck follows the beast from tree to tree. When he got a chance, Deck finally manages to kill the giant monster. The scene shifts to Tisa and her team, who are searching for Thea in order to bring her back to their base and begin studying the bioweapons they have collected. As they move through the area, they discover blood trails belonging to a Yaoa, prompting them to use their advanced weapons to trace where the trail is leading. That night, Deck and Thea set up camp along with the small creature that previously saved them. Thea suggests that it would be better for them to form a group so they can protect one another. The next morning, as they prepare to leave, Thea begs Deck not to abandon Bud, the small creature. However, Deck refuses, telling it he does not need companions to kill Klask. As the two continue walking near a waterfall, Thea curious about why Deck came to this planet, Thea asks him about his past. Deck sorrowfully tells her what happened to his brother, how his brother saved his life at the cost of his own, sacrificing both his life and honor on their home planet. As they continue traveling through the forest, they finally discover Klask's nest, filled with hundreds of corpses. There, Thea finds a pair of legs that she can attach to her body. She immediately begins installing them, and soon is able to walk on her own. Grateful, Thea thanks Deck for helping her survive in the jungle. Then Deck declares he will become a true Yaoa by defeating Klask and restoring honor to his people. However, Thea confesses that he must leave immediately. She reveals that she has received a call from Tisa. Her team is already on their way. Thea also admits that her company's true mission is to capture Klask alive. When Deck knows his prey will be taken from him, so he becomes furious. He finds a fuel source and sets fire to Klask's abandoned base. As the flames spread, they hear Klask's terrifying roar echoing closer and closer. Driven by his determination to claim his victory, and a brutal battle erupts between them. Using his speed and wrist blade skills, Deck manages to kill Klask. However, he is horrified to see the wounds rapidly regenerate. In an instant, Deck got severely injured. Despite his condition, Deck continues fighting, with Thea supporting him by firing her weapon at Klask. With her help, Deck manages to restrain Klask in chains, completely ignoring Thea. Instead, Deck rushes toward Klask's tail and decapitates the monster. However, Klask regenerates and comes back to life, launching another attack on them. Just then, Tisa arrives and throws a device that instantly freezes both Deck and Klask, allowing Tisa's team to capture them. After returning to their base, the group transports all three to their facility, where Deck is imprisoned. Tisa probes Deck's mind in an attempt to uncover his true objective. But because Deck is from another planet, their technology fails to properly scan him. Deck grows even angrier when Tisa tells him that he will now serve their organization. Tisa then revives the real Thea, who is overjoyed to see her friend and sister again. But after everything he has witnessed, Deck becomes furious at Thea as well, believing that she has betrayed him. As Tisa prepares to begin experimenting on Deck, she injects him with a chemical. Thea immediately protests, arguing that the Yaoa are not suitable test subjects for their experiments. Despite her sister's objections, Tisa continues the procedure, scanning Deck's brain and collecting samples for her research. Concerned for Deck's safety, Thea tries to stop Tisa by shutting down the machine and reminding her that this was never their mission. Enraged by the interference, Tisa orders her guards to imprison Thea. While one of Tisa's guards is distracted speaking with Thea, she secretly activates a device. The unsuspecting guard opens it, only for it to explode. Thea shouts for Deck to run, but he falls into the water below. Fortunately, Deck manages to escape and reach his spaceship. He treats his wounds using his personal medical equipment. Consumed by rage and guilt for failing to kill Klask, Deck blames himself for his weakness and for trusting Thea. But then he discovers his brother's armor. The sight reminds him of his purpose, that he must hunt down Klask and avenge his brother's death. Deck regains his energy and begins gathering natural resources to make new weapons. During his journey, he once again encounters the small creature Bud. Deck remotely activates Thea's mechanical legs, startling the guards and creating a diversion. While the soldiers are distracted, Deck sneaks into the base. Deck and Bud immediately engage the guards inside the facility, eliminating them one by one. At the same time, Thea is also shown fighting back against the guards assigned to watch over her. Meanwhile, as Tisa continues experimenting on Klask, Deck arrives to rescue Thea. Overjoyed to see that Deck has returned for her, Thea reveals the truth. Tisa was the one who caused the chaos on the planet, not Klask. She also reveals a shocking secret. Bud is actually Klask's long-lost child. Realizing this, Thea urges Deck to free Klask, warning that if they do not stop Tisa, her plan will succeed. She reveals that they have only 20 minutes left before Tisa initiates her final ship. Deck launches an all-out assault, and soon Tisa emerges piloting a massive combat robot, brutally overpowering Deck in battle. While Deck fights Tisa, Thea attempts to hack the control system using Tisa's biometric data. She is briefly captured by one of Tisa's soldiers, but eventually manages to kill him. As Deck continues fighting Tisa, Klask is freed and charges into the battlefield once again. To defeat Tisa, Deck destroys the cables powering her robot. Now facing two enemies at once, Tisa throws a freeze bomb toward Klask, preventing the bomb from detonating, allowing Klask to completely destroy Tisa's robot, with Tisa still inside. When Deck and Klask finally stand together, Deck realizes that Klask only became a savage monster because he was separated from his child. Klask gently touches Deck, as if expressing gratitude for saving Bud. But moments later, Tisa rises once again and activates another freezing device. This time, Klask is killed in a massive explosion, his body shattered into pieces. Bud is devastated, mourning the death of his mother, the one he had been searching for all along. As Tisa stands up again, she aims Deck's own laser weapon at Thea's head. Before she can fire, Deck attacks her from behind, killing her once and for all. Bud then lifts Tisa's severed head, while Deck, knowing the pain of losing a loved one. Together, they return to Yaoa Prime, Deck's promise to his fallen brother that he would succeed. After arrived, Deck is greeted by his father. Deck throws Tisa's head at his feet, proving that he completed his mission. However, his father denies and orders his warriors to kill Deck. But Deck is now stronger and smarter in battle. He quickly defeats them, until his own father attacks him. Duel fight begins, but his father's strength overwhelms Deck, forcing him back. His father then turns invisible, making it impossible for Deck to locate his father. Thinking quickly, Deck activates his ship's engine, causing dust and debris to fill the air and reveal his father's position. Deck won his father. His father declares that Deck is now worthy of leading their clan. But Deck refuses, stating that he has his own clan that does not require killing family to rule. Suddenly, Bud attacks and kills Deck's father, sealing Deck's victory. Deck claims the throne and takes his father's remaining equipment as a symbol of his new leadership. If you enjoyed this movie recap, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos. Thank you very much.